Okay. Yang record ready. Welcome back to our brand new episode of Sembang Kacip Kod. So today we are at Ibu X Cafe and Bookstore. So you are now back with me, the host Amal Faiz. But today I'm not alone because today I have few special guests. So the first one is...
Hi everyone, Shafika here.
The next one?
Manina, hey everyone.
So who are you at the back?
I'm Putri. Hello.
Okay, so before we get started, a quick question to kick things off. So for you guys, is it family before loyalty or loyalty before family? But today we are actually one shot in this beautiful room today. Mona couldn't make it in person, so she will be calling maybe a bit later for her segments. But let's get started. So today we are talking about the Bloodbrothers, Baranaga, the 2025 movie action thriller from Shafiq Yusof and Abhilash Chandra. So this movie made to mark Scope Production 40th anniversary. So on the surface, it's just gun, fist and family drama, your usual action movie stuff.
But our lecturer told us to watch it through an organizational behavior lens, and suddenly it's not just a movie anymore.
It's basically a company that also happens to be a crime syndicate.
Yes, exactly. So stick around because by the end of this episode, you are never going to watch a bodyguard movie the same way again. See you later.
Okay, so quick recap of the movie for anyone who hasn't watched it yet. So basically, Arif, starred by Shafiq Kyle, is an elite bodyguard at Silent Guard, which looks like a legitimate security agency, but it's actually the front for Tujuh Naga, the Seven Dragons crime syndicate run by Datuk Zul.
And here where it gets interesting. Datuk Zul is diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, guys. And instead of naming his own son Fadlan as successor, he picks Gus, which is his most trusted operative, who's also about to marry his daughter, Sheila.
Wow, that's a bold move.
Yes, a very huge move. And then on the actual wedding night, Sheila is found dead of an overdose. CCTV shows Arif, which is Gus' childhood best friend, as the last person to enter her room.
Wait, real? And Gus don't even pause to think. He turned to Arif immediately. No investigation, no benefit of the doubt.
So Arif has to go on the run, reach out to his estranged brother, here Ducky, to try and clear his name. And basically the rest of the movie is this brotherhood built over years of shared training and loyalty, but completely falling apart.
Which sounds dramatic until you realize it's basically a workplace. There's a chain of command, a code of conduct, unspoken loyalty norms, and a culture that puts brotherhood above almost everything else.
So guys, Tujuh Naga is basically a company, but a company that happens to deal in organized crime, but structurally it's still a company.
So that's exactly why we use 4 concepts for this reflection. So the concept of leadership, organizational trust, group cohesion and culture, and conflict and ethical decision making. So let's go through one by one. Shafika,
Yes.
you handle this part in the project, so I think you take it away.
Sure. Okay, so for leadership, we looked at trait and situational leadership theory from Robbins and Judge's idea that effective leaders combine stable personal qualities like composure and decisiveness with the flexibility to adapt to whatever situation they're in.
And Arif fits that.
Perfectly. He's not even the highest ranked person in the organization, but his authority comes from proven competence under pressure. Even in the tensest scenes, he's the one making fast, high stakes calls while keeping his team focused. That's directive leadership in crisis, basically just like in the textbook.
And then there's Datuk Zul's succession decision, which is basically its own leadership case study.
Right. He's diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and instead of automatically choosing his biological son, which is Fadlan, he names Gus as his successor. He's prioritizing demonstrated competence and loyalty over hereditary claim.
Sounds like a good leadership on paper.
It does. Until you realize that kind of trust-based authority is actually fragile. The moment that competence is questioned, everything starts to shake. It's foreshadowing, basically.
And that's exactly what happens when suspicion falls on Arif.
The whole leadership structure starts to struggle, guys. Decisions get made hastily based on incomplete information, and that's a very real organizational pitfall, which means our leaders under pressure prioritizing speed over fairness. Even with good intentions, it damages everyone's confidence in the system.
So basically, competence get you to the position, but fairness is what keeps it, right?
Exactly, Faiz.
So true.
Clock it.
Okay guys, now I think I will pass to Nina the trust segment.
Okay, so for trust, we use Mayer, Davis, and Skurman's model from 1995. The idea that trust between colleagues rests on three foundations, which are ability, benevolence, and integrity.
And Arif and Gus had all three at first, right?
They did years of proven ability in the field and a shared sense of integrity built through hardship together. Real, solid trust built over a long time.
But then it collapsed so fast.
Almost instantly, the moment Sheila is found dead and the CCTV points to Arif, Gus' trust just falls apart. And that actually mirrors something real in organizations. Trust, once broken, is far harder to build than it was to build in the first place.
So, the whole central conflict of this movie is basically a trust repair failure.
Exactly. Instead of asking Arif directly, instead of verifying the CCTV evidence properly, Gus acts purely on emotional inference the second he hears the news, and that's the moment things escalate instead of getting resolved.
Okay, no, so ties back to what I was saying. Basically, there's no process, no verification step, and that's just straight to judgment.
Yes, exactly. It's cautionary tale about what happens when there's no structured way to verify things before acting. One piece of unverified evidence and years of brotherhood are gone. Poof, just like that.
Brutal. Okay, and actually, this is the perfect timing because the next part is the Mona segment, group cohesion and culture. And wait, she just messaged that she already on her end. So let's get her on the call.
Hi guys.
Mona,
Hi.
are you there?
Hi. Yes, I'm here. I'm sorry that I couldn't make it in person today.
Oh, no worries.
So, group cohesion and culture. So the whole brotherhood double-edged sword thing. Honestly, this is my favorite part to talk about because it's so contradictory. So the organization in the movie generally has strong group cohesion. So it means that members feel attached to the group and motivated to stay part of it. And based on Bill and colleague, also Robin and Judge. So that's supposed to straighten coordinated performance under pressure.
And you can see that in the action scenes, right?
Constantly, the operative move like a single well-drilled unit. So that cohesion comes from shared training, shared danger, and a culture that treat brotherhood as almost sacred. So it shows at the leadership too. So when Boss Sam demand blood for blood, justice after one of Datuk Zul men kills someone. So the Naga leader close rank around their own code of honor instead of actually examining what happened.
Okay, but that's the good side. But what is the dark side?
The dark side is corrupting because brotherhood is treated as this almost sacred bond. So members can separate personal loyalty from objective when a colleague is accused of wrongdoing. That's literally Jenny's 1972 concept of corrupting. And as well, strong cohesion suppressing critical questioning, like encouraging people to close rank instead of facing uncomfortable evidence.
So the same culture that makes them so effective in combat is exactly what makes them terrible at handling an internal accusation fairly.
Exactly. It's a strain in ordinary operation, but it becomes a liability the moment clear, independent judgment is actually what needed.
Which honestly applies to any team. A group of student, a work department, whatever. Strong bond are great until someone actually need to say, wait, let's check the fact first. That's such a great point to end, Mona. So thank you very much for spending time with us. I'm hoping on for this, and we really
Thanks for
appreciate it.
having me, even remotely. Good luck with the rest of the recording, guys. Bye.
Thanks, Mona. Talk to you soon. Alright, she's off, so let's keep going. Hey guys, after Mona has stopped, I think Shafika, back to you.
Okay, back to me, right?
About conflict and ethic. Okay, let's go.
Alright, so for this segment, we use the conflict process model, which is the idea that disagreement moves through stages, which is perception, and then intention, then behavior, before producing an actual outcome. You see this play out almost in real time between Arif and Gus.
Start as a perceived betrayal.
Rooted in incomplete information, and it gets translated almost instantly into hostile intentions and then open confrontation. It shows how quickly conflict can escalate in a high pressure organization once communication breaks down.
And on the ethics side?
Ethically, it's really about due process and the presumption of good faith. Gus choosing to act on assumption instead of verified act is a failure of ethical reasoning under emotional strain, which lines up with Trevino's person situation model, where high pressure, emotionally charged situation increase the chances of unethical or poorly reasoned decisions.
Whoosh. Meanwhile, Arif does the complete opposite.
Yes, Arif does the completely opposite. He insists on proving his innocence through action, not retaliation, going to find his estranged brother Jackie instead of fighting with Gus directly. It's the more principled approach, even if it costs him more. And by the end, that's what helps restore some measure of trust and order.
Whoosh.
I see.
Okay, now we are done with Shafika part, which is quite long, but we don't know. Putri Aisyah part is longer than Shafika, so this is basically our favorite segment lah. Not mine, our favorite segment, which is favorite character. This is lighter segment, so Putri Aisyah, tell us about our favorite character.
So Faiz, as a group, our favorite is Arif. No
Okay,
surprise
Shafika.
there. Yes, no surprise there, guys. So he's the organization's more experienced operative, and his whole arc shows resilience and principled leadership, even when everything's against him. Even when the organization and his closest friend turn on him, he doesn't fall into the same reactive, trust-destroying behavior he's accused of. He stays methodical, works to uncover the truth instead. That emotional regulation and integrity, both qualities, the organizational behavior literature ties to effective leadership.
And second favorite?
And the second one is Gus.
Okay.
So guys, not because he's likable in that moment, obviously, but because his flawed response to feeling betrayed give us the richest material to actually analyze. He's not written as a villain. He's someone whose loyalty to the brotherhood culture pushes him into a decisions that understandable, but ultimately mistaken. He's proof that good intentions plus strong group loyalty can still produce terrible decisions when there's no structured verification and no open communication.
Which I also like Gus. But basically, Gus, what Gus doing is what happened when you skip. Let's actually talk about it first, like the bincang step. So if we skip, put. That's right.
Yeah, exactly that.
Okay. We will go to the next segment. Okay guys, I think let's bring this back to us. Actually, what did we take away from all of this discussion? Putri?
For me, the biggest lesson is that strong group cohesion is valuable, but it's not a substitute for actual verification and open communication. If a group or even a student team relies purely on trust me without any structure behind it, that's exactly how you end up with the kind of sudden emotionally driven fallout we saw between Arif and Gus.
There's also the leadership responsibility side. When leaders don't slow down to actually investigate before reacting, people lose confidence, not just in who's ever being accused, but in the fairness of the whole organization.
And on a personal level, it really reinforced how important it is to separate fact from assumption before reacting to conflict. Whether that's at work, in a student project group, or honestly any relationship that depends on trust.
This is directly transferable to group project settings too. Making assumptions about a teammate's contribution or intentions can honestly damage a group far more than the original issue ever would.
So I think it also should show that the leadership isn't just about being competent in a crisis. So we also know that it's about protecting fairness for every member, even under pressure to act fast. So just as relevant to managing a university project team as it is to a professional work unit. So Putri?
Practically, for us, that turns into a habit where checking indirectly with a teammate before assuming a missed deadline, an unclear submission, or a slow replies mean they don't care. Sending a short clarifying message early before frustration hardens into judgment. That's exactly the kind of thing that could have saved Arif and Gus' friendship.
And doing that consistently, not just after a conflict has already blown up, is honestly what separates a group that holds together from one that falls apart under pressure.
I think this is for future workplace situation too. It's point toward using a proper feedback channel instead of informal assumption or rumors. So raise a concern directly with the person involved, or we can escalate through a supervisor, but only after actually trying to clarify things first.
Leaders especially can take something concrete from Datuk Zul's organisation that built in even a small verification step, like a short conversation or a fact check before acting on an accusation or finalising a major decision. That way, responding quickly to a crisis doesn't come at the cost of being fair.
Basically, yeah, it's always basically, but this is basically. So basically, the movie biggest failure can turn into a practical checklist for us, organizational behavior student, just as useful for a small student project team as it is for running an actual organization.
Yes.
Wait for the next. Alright, after a long babble, I think let's wrap this up. And in the bigger picture, what's Bloodbrothers Baranaga actually teaching us about? I think I want to ask all of you. What
Me first.
You first. Okay, can.
Okay.
What Blood Brother teach us?
Okay, so that tight-knit, loyalty-driven cultures can genuinely produce strong, coordinated performance, but that same loyalty can also suppress critical judgment and speed up conflict the moment trust gets questioned.
Well, I think Arif and Gus' friendship falling apart is basically a case study in how quickly professional trust can collapse without structured verification, and how leadership under pressure can either contain a conflict or make it worse.
And honestly, beyond just be entertaining, it's proof that movie can genuinely be a useful, engaging way to explore organizational behavior concepts. It turns abstract theory into something vivid and memorable.
So, our recommendations is organizations should have formal mechanism to verify information before acting on accusations against a member, so trust doesn't get undermined by incomplete evidence.
Correct, Shafika. Leaders should be trained to slow down decision making during internal crisis. Leader also need to prioritize fair process alongside speed, not instead of it.
Yes, I agree. And organizations should also balance strong group cohesion with structured channels for decent and critical questioning. So loyalty to the team never ends up silencing legitimate doubts.
And bring it back to us, applying this to our own group work, members should communicate openly and verify concerns directly with one another rather than making assumptions.
Yes.
Which is really the exact same lesson the movie's central conflict is teaching us about trust and communication in any organization.
So, there you have it. A Malaysian action movie. Blood Brothers. Okay, that's secretly a whole seminar on leadership and trust. So, yeah. It's seminar. But big thanks to Shafika, Amanina, Putri Aisyah for sticking with me today. Plus Mona,
Yes,
we
Mona.
don't forget you for hopping on the call earlier for her segment. So
Okay, thank you for having us. Thank you guys.
This was genuinely fun. Oh, go check out the pictures we've referenced in our paper if you want to see the actual scenes we're talking about. Or you can check out the movie, okay?
Okay, that's it for this episode. So I think see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, tak apa, okey.